Is it that, really deep sense of, yeah, I'm so rooted in this and I'm so calm and yeah, then it's in your heart, and that's intuition.
How important is it to trust your intuition? And for someone that doesn't really understand this, how can we help them learn to trust themselves a little bit better?
Intuition is really a gift. It is something that we have to help us survive. But we have to be very careful not to mix intuition with our emotion. If I'm seeing a person and I feel uneasy, there's no logic behind it, but I just feel uneasy, I can trust my intuition and my gut. But if every other person is making me feel that way, it's from my past, it's from the culture, it's from the values that I've been taught, and it's my emotion that's taking me over. So knowing the difference and which one to pay attention to is very important.
It's true, there's a lot of different voices in our heads, and sometimes it is from the past, sometimes it's true intuition, and being able to determine where it's truly coming from is a skill, and it takes practice. For me, for sure, I know when something's true when I get goosebumps. I get goosebumps all over my whole body, like I'm getting them right now, like this is true. And that helps me, and sometimes it helps to pay attention to our physical bodies and really listen to the inner part of ourselves to know that that's truly intuition. And then to keep reinforcing that and practice, like even little things, like you can say like, which way should I turn if you're just staying in the flow? Should I turn left or right here? Or should I eat this or that? And when you start practicing, you start getting confirmations, and then you start reinforcing that you know that is right.
I love that. That's a tool for increasing your intuition. And one of the tools I use is that when I make an intuitive conclusion, I always follow it. You weaken your intuition. Well, I intuitively feel this, but I'm not going to do it. You've just then created a lot of confusion inside. So another thing to do is when it works out, you go, thank you.
Exactly.
It's the acknowledgement that it worked. You're constantly reminding yourself that I have this sort of inner knowledge that may not have all the evidence to prove it. But then when you find out it's right, you want to acknowledge that inner knowing. And I really love what you said about emotions and intuition, because they're really two different things, but they can feel the same unless you take the time to explore it, because they're both feelings. And I always, particularly for women, this is so important, because under moderate stress, women have 8 times more of an emotional reaction than average men. So those emotional reactions, you first want to embrace, you want to hear them, you want to listen to them until you can come back to a place of feeling centered and good. When you're feeling centered and good, that's your intuition, what you feel to be true at that time.
I agree, and I also like to think of the intuition as the guiding force that lives in our heart, and the emotions are more centered in our gut. So the litmus test to discern between the two, for me and the people I work with, are often, well, where are you feeling it in your body, and how can you trust it? Is it that, really deep sense of, yeah, I'm so rooted in this and I'm so calm and yeah, then it's in your heart, and that's intuition. But if it's in your stomach and, I'm really charged up about it, or I'm scared, or I think I can, that's emotion, and that's more in the gut. I think of it in that sense as well.
It depends where it's coming from. If it's coming from your anxiety and weakness, it's more about your emotions. But if it's coming from your confidence and your strength, at times of making important decisions, it might be your intuition. And if you haven't been successful with the intuition, have a mentor, talk to other people, check it out, make pros and cons list, and bring your logic into it.
Now, we haven't really covered why it's important to develop your intuition skills. What do you think?
Well, I think it's super important because it's, to me, it's our connection to our own inner divinity. I mean, and when we're totally online and connected with our divine presence, and I believe God's everywhere, within, everywhere, and that we're all a spark and we all have that divinity. So for me, I feel like when we're totally connected to that divinity, everything is right on target. There's no mistakes. You just stay in that flow. You know where to go. You know what to do. You're following your inner guidance, your intuition, and everything is easy and fun and smooth. And it just makes everything. It's so simple. It's like we don't even have to really think so much anymore. We just are in that divine flow, if you will.
Exactly. And that is how I think of it as well. Without the intuition, I don't think it's as easy to feel or to know that connection to something larger than us. Why we're here, what we're doing, what our reason for being here is. But with the intuition, we're hooked in. It's like the language and the voice that reminds us of why we're here and the validation for what we do.
So it sounds like learning to hone your intuition is incredibly important. And whether you have a bad picker and you have had a history of difficult relationships, or you've sailed through life, either way, learning to hone your intuition can make all the difference.